And okay, we are recording. Ricky Cibardo, I have pronounced that right, or have
Absolutely.
I?
Yes. Thank you.
Ricky, thank you so much for talking to me today. You have written a story that blew me away.
Oh, bless
Um,
you. Thank you.
a story called 428 Days, right? 428
400,
Days.
482 days.
Oh, shit, I've got that wrong already. And I'm just born.
It's
Doesn't
okay.
matter, I'm keeping it in.
What's in a day?
What's in a day? What's in a day? It was the most incredible, moving story, and it's a semi-autobiographical story that deals with miscarriage.
Yes.
And it blew me away. One of the reasons it blew me away, because I have never heard a man talk about miscarriage. And there are some key things in there that we'll come to a bit later that really made me sob. But I'm going to stop talking for a minute and
Okay.
just let you give us a bit of a heads up as to why you've written this incredible story.
Mhm.
And tell us.
Okay. So I guess there's a lot written, obviously, around miscarriage and how that affects couples. And you see a lot on TV. And, I thought it was obviously the female and by right, to be honest, the mother coming out and talking about how they feel, and how they felt, and the bond that they had and they have with that child prior to the miscarriage. And being in that situation myself many years ago, where my wife and I unfortunately had a miscarriage before we had our two beautiful children. Very fortunate that way. But the feeling around that was that I didn't have any kind of right to have a say or a feeling, or um, to be hugged, or said sorry to, or all those things that sort of come with the territory. And at the time also, so be it. And there was no kind of, I feel like I should have had that. It was just a feeling at the time that I had a loss, but I didn't bond. The
Mm,
same kind of feeling that uh, people say when you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding. If you can't breastfeed, then at least the man can join in the bottle feeding and that type of thing. You can get a bond, and there's always an advantage over that. um, there is no bond for the male apart from just being there for your partner. And so I just wanted to sort of get across that, even though I'm, quite a confident person, and, I was able to sort of hopefully try and be there at the time for my wife that needed me, you know, it was always, the attention was always um, on the female. And so I just wanted to give the male's perspective of how they can also hurt, and maybe some of the help they might need. And it's especially now with the mental health and everything that's gone on in the last year and a half with the pandemic. I think mental health's come to the fore now.
mm,
Or even I think this week is mental health week. So I think it's really, really key now that um, a man's perspective on um,
mm.
all areas of this sort of topic come out.
So did you do your grieving then away from your wife? Did you allow yourself to, but just hidden away?
At the time, no. It's what I probably should have done. But I think some people, myself included, when something happens that's negative, I tend to try to be that person that is strong, gets things done, organized, or try and help everyone else before myself, I suppose. And it probably wasn't until actually after my son was born that I actually started to think about what had happened before, really,
Mm.
and the miracle of childbirth and everything that goes with that.
Mm. You, it, that, there was a piece in it where you said it was like almost blaming yourself for certain things. Oh, was it my fault? Did I let my wife carry those heavy shopping bags? So did you feel that you were to partly blame? So were you
Yeah, yeah,
cross yourself? Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, I, I'm not. I can't say if it was been during that first pregnancy because it was quite short. But during one of the pregnancies, I remember being told, like most men, I guess, and fathers, expectant fathers, that women aren't, that fragile, and that they can go and do this and they can go and do that, and they're carrying a baby. But I think it's just for a lot of men and fathers, expectant fathers, it's just a natural thing to want to protect.
Yeah.
The baby, protect their wife, and protect everything that goes on. And when you can't do that generally, then you do kind of blame yourself, because I think we try to protect our loved ones in general, in every aspect of life, wherever you can, and when you can't, then you look to blame someone or something,
Yeah.
and yeah, that would have been myself at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had to literally bury all of those emotions, your grief, your anger, and then try and comfort your wife.
Yeah.
Were you able to comfort her?
um do you know, I probably at the time probably thought I could, and was, maybe I wasn't that much of a comfort, because I think there's a lot of anguish, there's a lot of angst, and it's very difficult when you're in that situation, emotionally attached to the situation. um and also, a lot of the time, they probably want their mothers, or their dads, or someone that generally they're going to go to, I think, throughout their entire life,
Yeah.
when they're able to do so. Yeah, you kind of do sit on the periphery, and unfortunately, if you've got too much time to think, that can also be something that it's a bit of a dilemma and a problem.
So what, like, looking back, what do you think could have helped you? If could have been anything,
hmm
what did you need?
I think probably maybe a better understanding out there on the fact that there is a good probability that both, expectant parents are going to be hurting. Not on the same level potentially, but at the same time, just sometimes you just need a few words, or you just need someone to talk to that isn't emotionally attached to the situation. Hence the Miscarriage Association being a fantastic, charity that, does now thankfully have a lot more men, calling them than uh, probably at the time.
Mm.
Um, so that was great, and at the same time, I think, especially in the last year and a half, I know it's a very different situation with the pandemic, but mental health has come to the fore, and a lot more men are now coming out and being a bit more open about
Mm.
how they feel, and it's okay, and it's okay to feel that way. And at the time, we're talking 15, 16, 17 years ago now, it probably didn't feel okay to talk and be open about how you felt. So I think just more understanding out there, more places to go and to talk to independently, away maybe for some men that might feel, um, emasculated by being able to do these things, being able to go somewhere that they could actually just talk privately, confidentially, and not have any judgment placed on how they feel. Because the overriding feeling throughout the whole piece was, should I have the right to feel the way I do? Because I wasn't carrying the baby, and I think I mentioned that a couple of times in the story. And that's a big word. Should I, right? Is there a right to feel this way?
I think that really got to me, because reading those words, I immediately wanted to scream, "Yes, you do," because it was your baby.
Mm,
Um, and yes, sorry, I feel emotional just talking to you about it. What
mhm.
with your story? I mean, this story is just, it needs to be out there. Everyone needs to be, reading this. Where are you putting it? Where can people find it? Obviously, we're going to have it on IVF Babble, but you know,
Well, you'll be the first. I think it was on the radio station as well, Purple Radio, with yourselves. And that is the only place it'll be so far. It was written, as part of, I've never done a writing course in my life, um, and I joined Diane Chandler, who's a published author, and her creative writing workshops with her and Stephanie Zia, a year and a half ago, just to see in her kitchen before the pandemic started, and I just started writing, and it was just something that, I put down on paper then. So in answer to your question, IVF Babble will be the first place that this is going to be going on, um, and maybe the last. Who knows?
no,
It's
it won't be the last. It won't be the last. And what I love about it is because, it's just a short story, but you get so engrossed, and then, you talk about the family members coming in and all kind of, like, fighting to say the right thing, but not saying the right thing. And
mhm.
it was just really interesting to see that glimpse into a family at such a difficult time, and seeing the way that people are reacting and trying to help. I found that.
Yeah, it's a hard emotion, and it's a hard situation for anyone to being outside of the couple as well, because and you've got and people have to understand that, it's not, if people know it's a hard word. People know how to react
Mm.
for an engagement. You know, it's happiness, it's applause, it's hug, kisses. People know how to react for, you know, someone's died. You know, it's sadness, it's, you know, hugs, kisses, emotion. People don't know how to react in a situation where there's a miscarriage. People don't really understand,
Yeah.
you know, is any miscarriage worse than another miscarriage just because it's gone on longer?
Mm.
No. But maybe society or people out there believe it is because someone's held the baby for longer, or it was the size of an orange or a grapefruit rather than a tangerine, or,
Mm.
you know, there's no difference in emotion. You
Mm.
still feel the same emotions, but I think people tread carefully. They're not really sure what they should say or
Mm.
how they say it, because everyone really just wants to say, you know, don't worry, you're young enough, you'll have one, or because that is what people try and achieve, and what they want to put something, you know, nice into your head, that, you know, something to encourage you, but nothing really helps in that situation. It's a strange emotion for everyone. So the genuine feeling from, I think, a lot of people is, you know, you need that support, but you also kind of need people just to leave you alone sometimes. And
Yeah.
that's no disrespect to anyone that's there. You know, everyone really is loving, and but I just wanted to try and portray that in the story, because it's probably akin to when you actually do have a child and everyone comes around at first for the first week or two. But
Yes.
actually, you probably after the first couple of weeks just don't want them to come around as much anymore. And
Yeah.
as much
Yeah.
as it's harsh, it's the same kind of feeling.
So you didn't want to, so you didn't want to talk about it to family members, but just to know that they were there, because I think a lot of people, they do try and overcompensate, don't they? Like you said, because they don't know what to do.
No,
So,
exactly.
so
Yeah.
would you say then, you know, if someone's listening, a family member, if they're listening to us chat now, that actually don't take offense, just, you know, just back off.
Yeah. It's yeah, exactly that. It absolutely. And you know, if it all happened again, I mean, it wouldn't today, but if it all happened again to me back in then, and I could change anything, I probably wouldn't change anything. And that's the strange thing, because I wouldn't probably say, you know, just back off, because I do see that actually they're never going to, because, you know, we're their loved ones and they want to be there, and actually you probably do need them. But at the time, and this is the emotion I was really trying to get across, at the time you're not sure whether you need them or not, because quite frankly you can't sort your own emotions out in your head. um, it doesn't really matter how much time they give you to do that. It's just not going to happen. You need time to just to get over that and collect what's going through your head and to understand what it really means,
Yeah.
and you know, try and put some sort of understanding on what's happened,
Yeah.
because it happens just so often, remarkably often than I even realized until we were there in the time, and so nonchalantly. And again, that was always something that really stuck with me, is that how, as much as, you know, she was very nice, the nurse that we went to when this started to happen, it was just so nonchalant how it was said, that it took me aback to actually have to understand what she was really saying.
Mm.
um, so yeah, it's taking normality out of it, but again, trying to understand really what's going on.
I thought I also thought it was very poignant how you had was it a plumber?
Yeah.
The plumber going about his, you know,
Mm,
his job, and
mhm,
it's almost like, you know, like you say, it's so common and it's happening, and the world is still spinning, and everyone is still doing their work and their jobs, and yet this pain and this grief
mm.
is happening to so many people every single day, and it's just not really spoken about. And like I said, I have never ever heard a man talk about it, which is
No, and I just wanted to maybe use the voice. So I'm quite confident in myself, and I wanted to use my voice to be able to say, you know, it's okay. It's okay to talk about it, and it's okay more now than ever to show your emotions, and nobody's going to judge you for that. And you know, it doesn't matter what your emotions are. It doesn't matter how you felt. Just tell people how you felt,
yeah.
because that's the only way you're going to start to really put the pieces together and be able to move on.
Yes. Are you going to be working with the Miscarriage Association?
As I say, well, I did the London Marathon in 2005, for the Miscarriage Association, and I did that. Raise money from then. That's the last thing I did with the Miscarriage Association, and it was only now, during this piece, that I started to talk about them again. Looked back up online, and you know, realised a lot's changed, and I think they're a bigger charity now, which is fantastic. And so yeah, so like, I will look to do something moving forward to help that. I mean, I do actually write other pieces as well on different subjects, but this one is quite close to my heart. So it's a charity that I'd like to work with moving forward.
Well, I'll tell you, I'd love to read more of your work because you are
Oh,
a
thank you, Sarah.
very, 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 very good writer.
Thank
So,
you.
so you said you've got 2 children now. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So how old are your children?
Nearly 16 and very nearly 12, a boy and a girl. Yeah. So
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
And my wife was actually pregnant with my first while I did the London Marathon for the Miscarriage Association. So yes, so that
Oh,
was kind of a little fairy story there. So it was really nice, and uh, yeah, it just sort of went into place really. But
amazing.
that's a whole nother story because, of course, when you're a man and you're expecting something to happen and you want to stay strong this time,
Hmm.
when that baby comes out and you're not expecting it, that's a whole nother story waiting to happen.
Oh my God, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Do you know what though, Ricky? I love people that that go on to help other people. You know, people that have gone through, grief or trauma. Whether it be miscarriage or years of trying to conceive and not getting there, and then going on to help other people to try and help them have a bit of relief from the pain,
Mhm.
the experience. So I just want to say I think you are incredible.
Thanks, Sarah. I really
And,
appreciate that.
and I really want people to read the story and to share the story,
That's important. Need to share it so people can see it.
to
Yep,
share it.
absolutely.
Yeah. And for guys to know don't take the blame. It's not their fault. And it's not because you told your wife to carry that heavy shopping bag back from the
No, it
store.
definitely isn't. No, it's a million and one things have to go in the right order or the right time for babies to come out the other side. It's a miracle. It
Yeah.
genuinely is a miracle.
And for people to reach out to the Miscarriage Association for support and guidance.
Yeah, if you don't feel like you can talk to friends, family, or people close to you, or reach out to the Miscarriage Association. Someone that is completely non-judgmental, confidential, someone you don't know, someone that you can just talk at.
Yes.
Just they're there. Just go and
Yeah.
use them.
Yeah. To download that grief, download that anger, and yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Ricky, thank you so much. Please,
no
please,
problem.
please keep me informed on when your next book, I hope, let's make it a book, comes out. You're brilliant. Thanks you.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Thanks for your time.